Two of them are on the spectrum, and the first one is neurotypical. The neurotypical one is gifted in sports, and he was refusing to play rugby because he was worried he can get injured and the mother would have to take care of 3 disabled children. So watching the mother cancel that one to get into rugby because he was good at it was a journey opener for me. And I learned I need to also talk to mine and tell her, you need to do what you want to do. So today she's playing basketball, and I love what basketball is doing for her, the discipline, the muscle tone.
Welcome back to our channel. As usual, my name is Wanjogo and I'm here with Jane. I'll not be introducing you because now everybody ashakuzoea kwa channel.
It looked like it's actually mine more than me, you know.
Yeah, so the reason why we are here today is I've realized we speak about A2 and A3 a lot because they are autistic.
Actually, we speak more of A2.
Yeah.
Your favorite child.
Yes. And then we touch a little bit on A3. But I want us to talk about A1. The one who is neurotypical without a disability. Is the firstborn, has been a caregiver. She's a teenager. I want us to talk about her. To tell us everything about her. Her being a caregiver, how she's coping. She's now in a boarding school and all those things. Basically, I want to make this segment about her. So you can lead us to where you want us to start.
Oh, my first baby.
Yeah.
Okay. She's a teen, a proper teen in high school now. She's older than A2 by 3.5 years. She is, I can't tell you she ever had a childhood. Maybe the first 5 years before A2 came along. Because when A2 came along, it was her baby. Yeah, her baby, a big sister, small sister. If I was looking for any of them, I'd call A1 and A2 will just surface also. A2 has grown up following in her sister's footsteps and wanting to be in her sister's space, which worked very well. Which worked very well until A1 became a teenage, she wanted her space, and now it became acrimonious. But they somehow cope. Her childhood was unique because when A2 was 4 years, in a few months, that's when I got diagnosis for A2 and A3. And that changed our world completely, having her understand what this meant for her. But she had already started noticing that there's something different because she ended up losing friends because people would tell her, come from my birthday party, but don't come with your sisters. And she'll go, she won't go. Even she stopped telling me that she's been invited to parties. And I didn't know about it until a neighbor came and asked why I didn't let her come for her child's birthday party. And I was like, I'm not even aware you had a birthday party. So I called her and I asked her, why didn't you go to so-and-so's birthday party? She said, the moment she gave me conditions that I only come and I leave my sisters, there's no way I was choosing her over my sisters. If she just only come for the party and left it open, I'll have found a way to leave my sisters and bring them cake. But I'm not going to let somebody external to this home tell me how to handle my sisters. I know they're different, but it's only me who can decide how I want to handle them. She's made a lot of sacrifices and choices that were because she wanted her sisters to be okay. I remember early on when A2 said she wants to be a scout, her sister literally joined scouting because she didn't trust anybody else to watch over her sister. Her sister then was non-verbal. She didn't trust anyone to watch over her sister. Then when her sister started talking, she became my interpreter. Because half the time I'd be lost. What on earth is it? And then she just telling me, but maybe she's saying, and I'm like, how did you figure that out? And she's like, common sense, ma'am. This is what is happening. This is what she wants. And it's easy to put the two together.
Yeah.
So at some point, I learned a lot from her on understanding A2. And then the funny thing is this, when she's away, A2 and A3 will cope. When she comes in, she becomes that thing they fight over. Like, she's mine, she's mine, she's mine, she's mine. So she usually says, I'm one and I'm enough for you. The hardest part is watching a neurotypical child having to live through the pain and grief of having neurodivergent sisters.
Yeah.
Because the kind of growing up and maturity that is forced on them, they become like your deputy assistant in parenting, which shouldn't be. It makes them look like they don't have a lot of options. I don't think my daughter has friends outside of her boarding school right now because in her primary school, most friends used to be okay with her being there, but the moment her sister turned up, walls went up. So she chose her sister every time.
Yeah.
And I know what that has cost her. She became more of a forced introvert, not a genetic introvert. She became a forced introvert because she did not want to hear bad things about her sisters. So the easiest way to avoid that is keep to herself, yeah? And also, there's a point in her life she didn't allow people around her because that meant jeopardizing her sister's safety and freedom. Especially during the E3 clothes sensory season. Yeah, people wouldn't understand why E3 is striking out of clothes. But her, she understood, and yeah, she's there. She has her own passions and likes, and she loves school. She's, thank God, extremely
And
academic.
she reads.
She reads, yes. She reads. She reads. And I think that one she takes after both her parents because we love books. Yeah, we love books. There's a time I used to give up when I was in college. I would rather buy novels than buy food.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, it's these way out a lot. The mental support that is required to protect a neurotypical in the middle of neurodivergence is something every parent should have. Especially if you have neurodivergence and there's that one neurotypical or a couple of the other children are neurotypical, get them mental support, get them counseling as well as yourself, because you'll need to navigate this world with different perspectives. And one perspective becomes overshadows the others because their needs need to be perpetually supported. Yeah. So you protect that. And then also, you have to give them space to be themselves. Yeah. I'm not a fan of boarding schools. I went through boarding school life, and I wouldn't wish it on my child. I wouldn't wish it on my child. But we had to sit down with her and explain to her why we were letting her have this experience. It was a space for her to make decisions without considering her sisters for once. Yeah. She wants to go for a funky, she goes for a funky. She wants to go for a basketball, football match, swimming competition. She needs to do that without worrying what will happen to her sisters, and also space to study. Because if she was a day scholar, then a lot of that space would be taken up by her sisters. They would not, they don't give her space, literally, yeah. And even when you try to tell them she needs space, I'm told by A2, but she's my sister, not your sister. She's mine. Yeah. And I'm like, but sometimes your sister needs space the way you need space. She's like, yeah, she can need space and I need space, but we're in the same space. Like you sit there, I sit here, we're in the same space. And also A2 copies her a lot. So she's had to learn to be a proper role model. She's not had a chance to be rebellious.
She has to shape up.
She can't do things and make mistakes that she would normally let someone get away with. Her, she doesn't have that space. So us letting her be stuck in a boarding school for 4 years, I don't like it. I am learning to cope with it. The adopted big sister keeps telling me she'll be fine. Every time we see her in school or she comes for half time, we agree I'll be fine. But I don't take it very nicely whenever I have to leave her, because I feel I've left my child out there.
Yeah.
But this is space for her to actually figure her space, figure her life without her sisters. And also for her sisters to learn they can't be fully dependent on their sister. Yeah.
At some point they have to be on their own.
And the pressure that comes with being the one who will hold a lot of legal issues and decisions on behalf of the sisters. God forbid I and the father and the other guardians are not here. Yeah. She'll have a lot of that to take care of. So we need to make sure that not only does she understand that, but she also doesn't get overwhelmed. I mean, at her age, this is grounds to give her anxiety issues and mental issues. But I thank God she's been a well-rounded child, and she's got a good support network of her own. I wish she'll become more outgoing and make friends issues. But even the way she makes friends has been very systematic and strategic, yeah, in terms of building her value networks. Because she knows her and her sisters are a package. So if there's no room for her sisters, she won't let you into that space. And she's pretty mature for her age, extremely mature. In fact, if you hang out with her, you'll think you're dealing with a 20-something, not a 15, 17 to 17 age gap. Yeah.
So let me ask you, I want to take you back. Maybe the things, because I've been a caregiver and my late sister was born when I was a teenager,
Mm-hmm.
when I just finished school and I was going into teenage. And sometimes I have moments when I introspect about what that kind of life was. And I'm going to ask you questions, maybe based on
Mm-hmm.
that. So I might project a lot of myself onto her. So you might tell me to stop if you need me to stop.
Mm-hmm.
When you now are expectant for A2,
Mm-hmm.
did you like have a conversation or did you surprise her? I mean, what was that around that time? Did you have a conversation about expecting A2 and what changes it would bring?
Actually, we didn't have a conversation.
You just went out and
No. I didn't go out and come back with the baby. She knew I was pregnant. Don't ask me how she knew that. She kept on asking me when is her baby sister, baby brother coming. Is she's gonna be her biggest curiosity was, do I get to hold her? Do I get to bathe her? Do I get to play with her? Of which, thank God, they had some 3 good years of that. Yeah. Before we started noticing the telltales. Yeah. So she knew at her age, she knew mommy is going to bring home a baby.
Yeah.
Her curiousness was when and is it a baby boy, a baby girl? So when I told her it's just going to be before Christmas, she was excited she's getting a Christmas gift. And when I look back at the many photos and videos their father took of those two, she had a good time with her sister before the world shut down on us. Because remember, A2 was a bubbly child, extremely bubbly. And on top of being bubbly, she loved her sister. She actually loves her sister. To date, it's there. Like when the sister has to go back to boarding school, she has to remind her, be good, be safe, come back. Like already she started asking us as of last week, Wednesday. Was it Wednesday or Thursday? When is my sister coming home? Because to her, the calendar, we've even circled the dates. We know this is when my sister is coming for half time. But to her, it's still too far. She wants her sister. And maybe she just has things she wants to. I've realized there are things now that I'm being locked out of. Yeah. And she discussed this with the sister, and the sister is the one who finds them for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think she wants to find out something from the sister. Yeah. About, you're a teenager older than me. What's this? Yeah. And how do we handle this? She wants it from her sister than from me.
And when now the symptoms of autism started showing, did they impact, do you recall whether they impacted their interaction? Did it come as a surprise or a sad moment for A1? Do you recall?
Yeah, I do. Even before we knew it was autism, she started getting worried that her sister is keeping quiet more and more. Her sister doesn't want to play. Her sister is hiding. But at no point has she ever said her sister is a problem. Yeah, she became overprotective. And but then even when the sister joined her in school, and she was the first one to tell me the teacher we are paying, the shadow teacher we are paying, is not taking care of her. She's letting her wander all around the school and she's busy doing other things. Yeah. Okay. And even when other kids would be mean, she'd stand by with her sister. Yeah. Like, you guys be mean, but me and my sister are good. When we came to church, she walked with her sister. When they became 2, she was actually happy to have a second sister, but then, she was hoping for a brother. Even A2 wanted a brother. Even now, I think you've been with her, and she's asked me when am I getting her a brother. And I keep telling her, your sisters will get you the nephew. Yeah, and then when her cousins were born, they're girls, so she's like, when are we getting a boy in this house? And I guess we'll have to adapt them a brother somewhere for them to see and learn to live with a boy or something. But for A1, if she's sad, she's never let me know. Yeah, she's learned. I still know that she's a teenager. She's learned to school her emotions. I have to pull them out of her. But one thing we're encouraging her is to have her own interests. Yeah. There's at some point she told me she feels the pressure that she's the only one who will go through formal schooling to the end, and I told her no, that pressure needs to end. You need to do what you need to do because it's yours. Yeah. There's no expectation as to what you're gonna do, so long as first and foremost you like it and you can live off it. Yeah.
And now, so I'm going to take you systematically. I'll keep taking you back. So you've confirmed indeed something is wrong with A2, and you need to take her for a checkup. How long did that take?
2 years.
Well, that's a long
time. Of hopscotching offices. Yeah. I knew at 2.5 for a fact. my child had a developmental challenge. I didn't know it was autism. I didn't know it was autism, but I knew something was up. The first set of peds work, I kept saying, she'll talk, she'll be okay. It's just she's taking a bit longer to get there. I don't know if they were scared of telling me to my face we have autism and other issues, or they just didn't know. Yeah, and I came to realize most of them didn't know later on. It took a friend who was very exposed to autism to tell me, stop taking it lying down. You do guys to have autism, because she was tiptoeing. If she was going to take a corner in our house back then, we were living at the coast, she'll close her eyes before she takes the corner. She was head banging, like she'll bang her head on a wall. She had started hiding from people, even us. Like she didn't want interaction. She didn't want to be touched. She would cry non-stop. She would tiptoe. That was my first sign. My first notice was the tiptoeing and then the closing eyes and never looking, never having eye contact. Those were my first. Yeah. And being picky with food. She only eat some types of food like ugali and milk, fries. She would not eat textured foods. Yeah, like even today you can't give her cabbage. It's her worst food.
And now you go to hospital and you get a diagnosis at 2 years. Do you
No, at 4 years.
At 4 years.
At 4 years, yeah.
Do you talk to A1 about it?
Not immediately.
How do you go about it?
Not immediately. I did not tell her that the sisters. Actually, remember, I got the diagnosis for both of them at 4 years and 2 years on the same day.
Okay, so now A1, you have A1, then you have A2. So A3 comes in like how many years after you had A2?
2 years.
2 years.
2 years to the dot. And when A2 was 2 years, A2 was 4 years. A2 was when A2 was 4 years, A1 had just was turned 2. So when we went for a formal diagnosis, because by then I was sure, and I'd also seen the flags in A3.
Yeah.
I got them on the same day. That broke me.
Yeah.
I totally disappeared into research and trying to find answers and why and the what. The finger pointing of this must be your family began. I'm like, okay. So there was a lot of hurt on my part, a lot of disappointment and feeling God has let me down. Actually, I remember I had a crisis of faith and God were not friends for a very long time after that. So I didn't have it in me to let it to A1. Yeah, and I think even at that point, even her now, she started learning to take care of herself because she could see I'm not there.
Yeah. You're out, you're checked out.
Yes, luckily I had a very good nanny back then who stepped up. And then we had just moved here. Yeah. And then in the process of trying to find this diagnosis, getting sick a lot, because you know when autistics are small and then you haven't figured out the regulation system, they get sick like no one's business. So you are ever in and out of hospitals and it's expensive. I got fired around the same time. Like, yeah, one evening I had a job, the next evening I didn't have a job. And I remember when that happened, either A2 was in hospital or I was in hospital. I don't know who among us was sick. But in some way, today I can look back and say it was a blessing in disguise in terms of taking care of them, because I would not this be invested. But it was also a very big challenge because it was a financial pit. Yeah, a very bad financial pit. Children when they were younger. So I didn't tell her. It took us another, when A2 was now 5 on her 5th birthday, is when I sat her down and I explained to her. And being the baby she is, she actually made me now Google it for her. She read, she watched videos, and see most videos were foreign. So she couldn't understand how we blacks could have it. Then she started asking me, so is it a disease, is it a condition? And I think it took us another 8-7 months before she finally exhausted questions or realized that the questions were painful. So she stopped asking. And from there, she became their protector and caregiver. Yeah. Outside of me, I knew as long as she was in the same space with them, they were fine. Yeah.
Did she understand like the changes? Did you have to talk to her also about the adaptations that you would make to accommodate the two, or you got a hang of it as you went because you were also learning?
We got a hang of it as we went, and most of the time it's even how we would suggest things. Mom, I read this. Mom, I saw this on a video. So yeah.
Okay.
And also like when I really got overwhelmed, she'll just come sit calmly with me. Yeah. Today as a teen, she'll come and ask me, how are you?
Yeah, she asks. And she has a thing of, nowadays I notice sometimes she'll not ask. She'll come, gauge. Then when she knows you can't lie to her, she asks you.
Oh yeah.
And if you don't clear your search history,
She goes back into search.
she goes to see what you are reading, what you are reading. I actually had to protect my WhatsApps using the thumbprint, because I realized it might cross her mind to read our chat sometimes. And I'm like, I don't know what she'll find in there. So I just, because I realized before she asks you, she has this habit now of she won't ask you because she will know first, then she'll ask you.
Yeah. She'll come from a point of knowledge.
Yeah, she just wants to see how much honest you can be. Yeah, which is deadly.
One thing we have had is if I can't tell her, I tell her, Mama, I can't tell you.
Yeah,
we can't have this conversation at this age. But at this point, all you need to know is this is okay.
Yeah, you have to reassure her.
Yeah, we're okay. This is good. This is happening. Yeah, like when I lost my job because she figured it out, she was very scared about school because they were in a very expensive private school, and that's the only school within a radius of 30 kilometers that could accommodate her sisters. So she was very worried her sisters will drop out of school, and I kept telling her we'll be fine. We'll make other adjustments, but school will go on. Yeah. So when she went to boarding school, the first thing she comes is. I make a point of either I or her adopted sisters, we take her for breakfast and sit with her and hear her out. How was school? How are you? Are you ready for this? And these are the changes at home. This is what's going on at home. And from there, we'll come home. And then she'll first go around everything and everyone before she asks a question. Yeah, she'll internalize. Then if there are questions, she'll ask. Although half the time, like during the long holiday, I didn't have a nanny. And half the time, I'd have to remind her, come on, the house can stay dirty. I know it's affecting your city, but the house can stay dirty. It's not dirty to an hygienic level. We'll clean it in the evening.
Not a do or die situation.
Yes. So could you please go study? Because this is the one thing we've agreed. Will not compromise your studies. Yeah. So can you go to do your revision? When you get stuck, let me find you the help. Yeah. And then I've told her she needs to surround herself with friends who, yes, she needs to be a teenager, but unfortunately for her, she can't afford to make some of the mistakes that are made by the teenagers today.
Correct.
Because her sisters are watching and her sisters are there. Yes. Even the content of anything she's reading, I tell her if it's extreme and you know your sisters will take it literally, I need you to either password protect it or delete it, and then when you come back, you just download it. It's okay, we'll take care of the bundles. Yeah, and she's become very good at that. Yeah, or she'll tell me I need to hide from them, I need to read on this. Yeah.
Okay. So now I think in terms of space, when she's now back from, because you see, school helps her have her space. She would be able to. She has the autonomy that she needs. But it's being about not really much autonomy, because then even in the schools there is confines within which. Now, when she comes home, how do you support her to make sure she still can feel like the independence of this is hers? Something.
Oh, she has her space. Yeah, and now we've learned to give her space. The funny thing is that A3 doesn't care whether she's here.
Oh, tell me about it.
A3 will only look for you if she needs something from you, and you're the only one who can supply it. If anybody else can supply, she won't look for you. And she knows which are the easy targets. Yeah, she knows who is the weak link. So where A3 is concerned, A3 nowadays, even the other day we were very surprised when A3 walked into the house and her sister had just come from school, and she went, "Hi." A1's name, and we all turned around and were like, what? And then she said hi, the sister said hi back, and she went. When she was going back to school that morning, and her sister was saying bye, I'm going back to school, she hugged her and told her bye. And we were like, did she understand the sister is not coming back tonight?
She moves on very fast.
She moves on, yeah?
Very fast.
She moved on. A2, we had to prepare her for a whole week that the sister is going back to school. Like now we're preparing that the sister will be here for half term next week. Although even her, she's been looking forward to that, which tells me she wants something with her, and she wants to spend time with her sister. Also, she has her space physically, emotionally, and even we let her have that space. Yeah, but she's usually very fast at getting back into the mix and the line of things. Yeah, she adapts very, very fast.
So in the previous video, we were speaking about transitioning for A2. Is this a conversation you're having with A1? Does she understand what? Do you have that conversation with her?
Oh yes, we do. We do have that conversation.
And how is she taking it?
She also, it's a bag of mixed feelings. She'd love her sister to have the same where exposure she's had, but she understands it has to be within some confines. So sometimes she asks me, can we like all of us do this, yeah. Like she was the biggest proponent of you guys taking her out for
coffee.
Hey, before,
and we paid for those coffees because A2
A2 has tastes, very expensive tastes.
because
she learns the finer things in life, and she won't let you compromise her. She was really pushing for that. Like, no, she's been pushing that I get one of you guys to take her out to see that she's not the only child. It's only just her and her sister and the ones in school, but the other kids who start experiencing life from a point of compassion. Like, she was telling me, can you get cousin Tess to go with her for one of her outreaches? Can you get teacher Doreen and big sister to take her out for a proper sit-down meal in a restaurant where she has to know etiquette and be reminded it's slowly, it's not going anywhere. And then she was like, take her to a place like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say these CJs. Let her sit, let her watch things, let her ask you questions. And you need to warn the waiters and waitresses in CJ that she's autistic, so she might be blunt. I ever told you we went somewhere and then when the waitress came back, she was like, your food was horrible.
Oh. I wouldn't be surprised though. I'm so used to them by now. I don't get surprised.
Like, you can't give her bad fries. You have to ensure her fries are all white or all crispy. The whole works.
I think for us, and this is not marketing for CJs. I don't know, somehow CJ just works for all of us.
It does.
It just works.
And actually, I think the village market one. The others are noisy.
Corner over there. There's like a corner over there that we go to.
The others are noisy.
And I think with A2 is, once you take A1, for A2 is what she believes in, even A3.
Equity.
Yes.
What you did with
so and so.
You have to do it.
And for A3, now she cascades it to an eye for an eye.
Yes.
You punched me, I will get you. I'll punch you. Like, I think that's A3's ways of thinking. A2 is, if A1 can have it, I think I also deserve
I deserve it too. Yes.
So definitely, I know that conversation of CJs is coming.
No, it is coming. It already did.
It came. I just case this in a teacher.
No, it's me who's not reported. Yes, it came. She can't wait to be to be a woman so that she can go to a spa. Yeah, courtesy of you treating me to a birthday spa. And I told her only grown women go for spas, because at that point I wasn't ready to unleash her on people and telling her burst naked in the spa, because she have a private shiva. So she can't to be a woman to go for a spa.
I think we'll start with a facial.
So she's been looking at what goes on in spas. I got that on her Google, because her Google is, we watched the Google with the dad. Then there's a time the dad came and told me, have you seen what your daughter has been Googling today? I said, I kept hearing the beeps, but I was in class, so I didn't check. Then he goes like, you need to check before the questions come. And I went there and I was like, okay. Then when I showed the sister, she was like, oh, we already had this conversation today. Today when you were at work, we had this conversation. And then she asked me and she told me she wants to do this and this, and I helped her get it done the first time, and now she's a pro. The next time she didn't even tell us.
I think for me, what we will start with a spa. No, a facial.
Oh, you're the victim, eh?
A facial. But I think we need to plan for that so that I can have a conversation with the place I go. We can have that conversation with that lady so that I can know. We can have a discussion of the products that they are using, if they are friendly for her or not, because then again, she's too young to
get harsh products.
Go all out with the product.
Like now, the conversation on the table is that she needs to wear braces, and she doesn't understand why I'm bracing her. I'm telling her she's going to do braces in April. She's like, if you're doing braces, even my sister needs braces. She has teeth like mine. So I'll be taking 2 people for braces. Yes. That dental impact, I am waiting for it.
So now we are digressing from A1. Let's go back to A1.
Okay.
So for A1, when she's finished now high school, primary school, and she needs to go to high school, did you have a conversation with her? Because now she's used to being the protector of her sisters, and all of a sudden now she's not quote unquote needed. She has to trust that other people take care of her sister. Did you have a conversation with her? Because that can be destabilizing.
Oh yeah, we had a very long conversation. Actually, it took us almost 2 months of those conversations. I roped in the grandmas and the aunties on this conversation. I roped in 2 people she trusts to come in, some my friends' mother, my mothers who are my friends, and even telling her what our expectations, what to expect. But we also realized that she took that caregiving to school, and we had to start telling her, they are not your responsibility. Those ones in school are not. Yes, you can assist, but they are not your responsibility. We need to take care of you. We need you to learn to be selfish a bit. For 4 years, you need to be selfish.
Is it extending that caregiving, or is it just doing what you've known all your life to be? Because you see, if you've been used to being a caregiver for so long, then you don't know. I'm saying that also as because I mean, you've had to hold me a lot of times and tell me to stop. So is it caregive? Is it your nature, or life is not purposeful without?
It's an extension of who you've always been.
Yeah, if you're not taking care of someone, it's like there's no meaning. Maybe like a trauma response. I don't want to call it a trauma response.
It is a trauma response.
Yeah, because I'm like, that should not happen. But then you don't know this life any other way apart from when you're taking care
of somebody vulnerable.
Yeah.
You attract people who are vulnerable and you start being a caregiver.
Because all your life you've been a caregiver.
Yep.
So I don't know how you're coping with it, because I mean, I've learned too late that
a lot of counseling.
Yeah.
A lot of counseling. I've normalized counseling among our space. It's something that you get your space to, and her current counselor knows I don't need to know unless there's a big impact that I need. Her confidences are her confidences. So unless there's something I need to know, and she needs to be aware that I'll need to know. Yes.
And consent to you knowing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because I think that's a trauma response.
Actually, you two share counselor.
Oh yeah.
You two share counselor.
I know she'd never see, and I like that she's very confidential.
Oh yeah.
She never.
She's not told you cousin test your cousins are here. No, she won't.
I've actually known today on this interview that we share a therapist.
We share a counselor.
Yeah.
Yeah. For A2 and A3, counseling is not purposeful.
Especially for A3.
Yeah, it's as we move on. Yeah. Oh, A3 deletes you. Her coping mechanism is awesome. I wish we could all get her coping mechanism.
And good.
Yeah, she's done with
come back.
But no, if you hurt her, she'll come back.
Oh yeah, to revenge.
Oh yeah. You hurt me like this, you need to hurt too. Equity. Yeah.
Okay.
But for A1, I think we right now we're in a good space.
Yeah.
I'm also looking to be able to, just get some extra financial support so that she can get those things that she gave up.
Yeah.
Yeah. The ones that are still appropriate for her to do. Yeah.
Moving on to the last bits of this interview, I like to treat you as the parent or the reference point for most parents. For one, because you have a neurotypical child who's in her teen, you have preteens who are about to be in teenage. So you've pretty much gone through it all, given that when you were starting this journey as well, there was close to nothing in terms of resources, information. You've really gone through it. So I'm just wondering, for parents who are now starting out, who have a neurotypical child and they have a child with a disability of any kind, it doesn't have to be autism. What are your learnings? What lessons have you picked that you would advise them? Heavy?
Extremely heavy. One, you need to see all your children first and foremost as children. Yeah. Disability kando. They're all children. They all have their specific needs. That's your first reference point, which is very hard to come across because the moment disability is thrown in your face, you see nothing else. Two, you also have to bring in the neurotypical to understand the limits of the neurodivergent.
Yeah.
And also slowly inculcating them that they're going to be the role model. Yeah. I have a friend who has 3 sons. 2 of them are on the spectrum, and the first one is neurotypical. The neurotypical one is gifted in sports, and he was refusing to play rugby because he was worried he can get injured and the mother would have to take care of 3 disabled children. So watching the mother cancel that one to get into rugby because he was good at it was a journey opener for me. And I learned I need to also talk to mine and tell her, you need to do what you want to do. So today she's playing basketball, and I love what basketball is doing for her, the discipline, the muscle tone,
the confidence.
It's a body contact sport. And also just having conversations around you are first and foremost an individual. So those conversations will happen.
Yeah.
Where the neurotypical is the older one, it becomes easier than when they're the younger one. Because when they're born, they're born into this space where their sibling is already ahead of them, and their sibling with all their quirks and whatever challenges, you're just gonna flow into them. But if they're older, they know life a bit differently. So them understanding the differences and the barriers and the challenges will be a bit easier. But also make sure that they have a life of their own. Yeah. The second one is, do not put the expectation that everything lies on you. Like a mistake I did earlier on, I kept telling the A1 that, you know, you're the only one who go through education, you'll be responsible for your sisters. That was a very hard bell to unring. Once you ring that bell, it's very hard to unring and remind the sibling that, come on, be a child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because now they think about it forever. And I believe it's something you're trying to undo now, because somehow.
Yeah, it's a bell. We've unrung that bell. We've shown her, but we keep her looped in on major decisions. These are the properties we have. This is where our health statuses are. This is who you call in case of this. This is set up and it will activate in your name for these purposes. But you have the support to be able, there are aunties who will be on call to help you through this process. We're not making the mistake of putting everything on her or on anyone without the financial backup. Yeah. So because we have the only thing we put on her is that you have to get your education right.
Okay.
Get it right, and whatever you need, we will work to get it there. And we have very honest conversations as to why she can or cannot do some things. Yes.
Yeah. I think that's it. Unless you have something you want to add?
No, to that newly diagnosed parent, breathe. Breathe. Moon, but don't get stuck there. Get angry, don't get stuck there. Then start making long-term plans and think of it like a long-distance marathon, one that does not have an end. You see, a marathon, you have to finish it after 2 hours. This one doesn't have an end. As long as you're both alive, you have to keep going, and you have to be you have to learn to be positive, even when you have no reason to be positive. Yeah, you have to be positive. You have to also see life at a different lens and make it make sense for you. Yeah, I have learned to give my life purpose because I have 3 awesome children that need me. The other bunch of 3 are adults. Yes, they still need me, but they're adults. But the 3, starting with A1, A2, A3, I am who they need at whatever time they need. Yeah, I have no judgment. Even when I'm disappointed, I have no judgment. Yeah, I find a positive way to show them that there's room to do better.
Yeah,
yeah. Not say I'm mad at you or I'm not happy with this. No, I show there's room. And one thing I've learned with A1 and A2, when there's an issue, sit them down or stand with them and walk them through the choices they made versus what other choices they could have made. And it sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah. With A3,
that's a happy-go-lucky.
No.
She lives in the moment.
She lives her life. You people take a number. I'm not going to be bothered. Yeah.
That's what lives in the moment and moves on. If it's not working, I admire how she lives. It's not working, okay. You come into her space so much, she will leave that space for you and go.
Yeah. It's not important.
Yeah.
You take it.
But I think I'll say I've known your children for 5 years now, plus. Actually, 6 now. You are raising them beautifully. Because the first time I met them, I wouldn't have known they have a disability. Aside from the part where we had met in disability spaces, and I knew you have children who are disabled and have autism, I would never have thought they have a disability. Well, maybe A3 because she was still struggling with sensory issues, and once she was done with her clothes, she would.
She was done with her clothes, so you were imposing.
They were going. Aside from that, I wouldn't have known. And even today, the way we interact with them, even with A2, she has very good diction. Sometimes you will say the things
she's a grammar Nazi.
If I had never interacted with A2, I would not believe the things that you tell me she says. Because sometimes I'll listen to her diction and I'll say, ni vile tu nakujua. I'd never imagine someone who is autistic with this kind of diction. Like, because even if I'm a disability advocate, I definitely have my biases. I can never be the person who is all inclusive and everything, you know. And I've learned through a tool that there's no limit. She has very good command of English. She has good one.
Oh, thank
She
you.
has a good one. And her way of reasoning, she's also taught me not to take things personally. Especially when she told me people die because they need to create room for others. But anyway, the long and short of it is you've raised them beautifully.
Thank you.
They're independent.
Oh, yeah.
They've told you to get a life. I hope you're doing that.
Oh, yeah, I got a life.
They've told you to redo your wardrobe. Some of these things, they're like stories. If I wouldn't have heard them say those things.
Oh, yeah, told
I
that
would
thing was you
think-
guys need to take me shopping for clothes because my clothes look like I'm a grandma.
And when she saw my swimming costume, she was like, yeah, now this is what big women wear, you know? This now looks like a lady. And I'm like, God, I don't do my hair. She's on my case for days.
Oh, yes.
So it's beautiful to actually see.
I no longer have room to be a slop. You know, I used to be a slop. I'll wear anything and not with her.
So you've raised them beautifully.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think that brings us to the end of this interview. If you have any questions or you are going through a journey of you have a child who is neurotypical and you have another who is neurodivergent and you're wondering how to raise them, just drop us a comment. I'll have Jen come back here and answer all your questions. In the meantime, be safe and make good choices.